If you like to watch professional tennis matches on TV, you may have noticed something. The best players in the world are very effective when they are attacking their opponents. It's not common for them to lose a point once they start attacking. In comparison, when you look at recreational matches, club matches, and even some matches between colleges, being offensive starts being less and less effective. At this level, it's very common to see players hitting the ball as hard as they can without getting the results they want. Of course, we could argue that the pros have a better technique and stronger shots, and that makes them more effective when attacking. Even though I don't disagree, I do have to tell you that there is also another reason. The pros know how to use tactics in their favor to attack their opponents. My name is Jorge, and in today's video we will talk about how the pros use tactics to be effective when attacking. The first thing we need to talk about is that an effective attack has two phases. Phase 1 is all about building the point. Here's when you create a scenario that allows you to get to phase 2, which is finishing the point. This is the essence of attacking tennis. Whenever you decide to be offensive, you can't ignore any of these phases, otherwise your attack won't work. To explain this better, I want you to imagine you are in a neutral rally. That means neither you or your opponent has the upper hand in the point. Which steps would you need to take to win this point by being offensive? Well, your first step is something I like to call reopen the court. Here, your goal is to create one of the following outcomes. Either you push your opponent back or you force a short ball from your opponent. Once you complete step 1, you get into step 2, which is, as many of you will have guessed, opening the court. Here's when you move your opponent side to side, you bring them forwards with a drop shot or whatever your strategy is all about. Completing step 1 and step 2 means you have the upper hand. Now it's time to finish the point. Here's where you try to hit a winner, counter the net to hit a volley, or whatever it is you want to do to end the point. These 3 steps are the essence of an effective attack. Completing these steps is what allows players to win points by attacking their opponents. Now the question is, how do you complete each of these steps? Let's start with step 1, reopening the court. For me, the best way to explain this step is by letting you know the 2 most common mistakes players make when attacking. The first one is simple, and that is not being aware of step 1. Many players try to open the court as their first step without first pushing their opponents back or getting a short ball, and as a result, they are unable to force their opponents into a defensive position. To better understand why step 1 is so important, I want you to take a look at the following picture. Let's say this is you and this is your opponent. Let's say you want to open the court by placing the ball here. If you try to place the ball there without considering step 1, this is the distance your opponent will have to cover to return your shot. Now, let's pretend you completed step 1 by pushing your opponent back. Well, now, once you target this spot, your opponent will have to run a bigger distance. Now, your opponent will leave a bigger space open for you to finish the point. This is why step 1 is so important. Step 1 is what guarantees you will force your opponent into a defensive position once you open the court. If you don't follow step 1 and you decide to open the court first, the distance your opponent will have to cover will be shorter, making it harder for you to take control of the point. But what if instead of pushing your opponent back, you get a short ball? Well, if you take a look at our picture once again, you can see that if you get a short ball, you will also force your opponent to cover a bigger distance once you decide to open the court. Now we know how important step 1 is, but how do we achieve it? How do we force a short ball or push our opponents back? Let me tell you what you don't do. You don't try to hit the ball as hard as you can. This is the second most common mistake players make. Hitting the ball as hard as you can might work on some occasions, but it's not reliable for 2 reasons. First is that you are trying to hit the ball at a speed you are not used to. which will result in more errors than good shots. And second is that there are a lot of players that have the ability to block the ball. These players can take advantage of the speed of your shot and return the ball with a lot of depth just by keeping their grip solid, without having to put a lot of effort into it. To achieve step 1, you need to pay attention to your opponent. Here's the thing. There isn't any generic way of achieving step 1 against all players because there is not such thing as identical player. Each player is different. Each player has different weaknesses. That means that achieving step 1 could vary based on your opponent. You need to figure out your opponent's weaknesses. Against some players, this could be as easy as aiming a specific stroke like the backhand. Against others, you might require a little bit more attention to detail, like using a specific height or spin. At the professional level, you can see countless of different ways players achieve step 1. You have players like Nadal that achieve step 1 by using high topspin balls. You have others that use low slices. You have players that focus on their movements, and so on. Pay attention to the clues your opponents give and use them in your favor. Now, before we move to step 2, I want to clarify something very important. Just because you haven't achieved step 1 doesn't mean you shouldn't try to hit shots like this one, where you move your opponents. It's okay to hit these kind of shots at the beginning if you are hitting them with the intention of achieving step 1. This means you are aware that this is not the shot to open the court. This is the shot that could allow you to open the court later on. Having said that, let's continue and talk about step 2. The good news is that if you successfully execute step 1, step 2 becomes a lot easier. Here you have two main options. Either you open the court by hitting a short angle or by hitting the ball to the empty space of the court. That's it. You already did the hard part. You just need to continue building the point on your terms. Finally, you reach step 3. Here is where you finish the point. Having successfully executed step 1 and step 2 means you have created a scenario that allows you to end the point. At this moment, you are probably inside the baseline, and you have a great opportunity to hit a winner. Finish the point with a volley or a smash. At first sight, it seems step 3 is the easiest of all steps. However, for many recreational players, step 3 can be the hardest of all. There are countless of players that struggle here because of fear. These players are afraid of being at the net, and because of it, they struggle finishing the point. For them, it's safer to retreat and go back to the baseline than keep moving forwards. Unfortunately, when players do this, they automatically lose everything they did during the first 2 steps. They allow their opponents to get back into the point. When players want to be successful by playing attacking tennis, they need to feel comfortable moving forwards, and the best way to develop confidence for it is by practicing your volleys. You don't need to be an amazing net player. In fact, by successfully completing step 1 and step 2, the volleys you may have to hit in step 3 shouldn't be too complicated. But you need to trust your game enough so the fear of moving forwards doesn't deny you the possibility of winning the point. As you can see, you don't need stronger shots to play attacking tennis. You can follow this step-by-step process many professional players use and have a lot of success with it. Remember all steps and don't forget to practice your volleys. As always, I would like to know your opinion. Do you agree with this process? Have you used it during your matches? Please let me know in the comment section. Also, remember we have a Facebook group for the people that want to talk about strategies, share their experiences during matches, or ask for advice. If you want to join this group, I will leave a link on the video description below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. Once again, my name is Jorge, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.